All right, so this is about you guys. It's about your 2021 internet marketing plan. It's put together for you to take where you are today, and you're all going to have different experiences, and we're going to build this up. So I've got some tools for you to work on here. So here's what we're going to cover. First of all, you may already have set your goals for 2021. If not, you're going to begin to look at those goals and get those set. Specifically, taking those goals and converting that into leads. How many calls do you need to get from the internet? How many web forms are you going to need to get? And how are you going to go about getting those? So we're going to translate that goal into leads, and then we're going to develop a custom action plan based on where you are today right now, and then what you need to do to get going. So the idea, this isn't theory. There'll be some teaching and some explanations, but we're going to roll up our sleeves. You should have pen and paper, and we're going to talk about setting the goal of how to dominate your competition. And so in the chat, just type in where you're located. I'm just curious to see where you guys are located here. Where's my chat? Here we are down here. All right, New Jersey, Austin, Texas, sweet. Anybody else? Indianapolis, all right, cool. Okay, so we're going to talk about how to dominate your competition. There's plenty of business out there for everybody, but you want to make sure that you're set up to dominate online in the online space. So in order to dominate, you got to check all the boxes. So we're going to, I've got our proprietary system for digital dominance, and that's the big picture. And you're going to walk out of here with a clear checklist of action items, and you can begin to look at what you want to, what you're doing already, and where you want to go next. So that's the big picture, all the online marketing channels that you can tap into to maximize your lead flow. And then I got 3 things for you. The latest trends that you need to be focusing on 2021. You may be aware of them. Most people aren't doing these, and so I'll share with you what we're doing there. All right, so 60 minutes. We have 55 minutes left. I'll stick around till the end to answer any questions. We can unmute and do that at that point. So let's focus, turn off cell phones, get off of social media. And so if you're a restoration remediation business owner, you're serious about going to the next level, this is the right place, the right time. So let's focus. What I need everybody to do is type into chat their services. So are you restoration? Are you remediation? Are you cleaning? Are you all 3? Just want to get a sense of what you're looking at here. Hi, Elaine. I haven't said hi to you. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
All right.
Very excited.
Good. Well, Elaine's unmuted. Very good. So do we want to, if you guys want to unmute yourself, we could talk a little bit here. So we got Ian is mold, water, fire, and reconstruction. Okay. And then fire, flood, mold repairs. Okay, so we've got remediation, fire, and mold. Anybody doing cleaning as well?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Elaine. All right, so Elaine, since you're unmuted, you're doing, what are your services?
Fire, flood, mold, remediation, full repairs. We have a warehouse where we house salvageable contents, and we clean them, restore them, deodorize them, and then we keep them until the client's business or house is ready to be moved back.
Got it. All right, thanks, Elaine. So in chat, does anybody just give me a yes if you're doing carpet cleaning in addition to? Anybody? Yep, no, okay. So we got contents. Elaine said she's doing contents there. Okay, good. So if you stay to the end, you're going to be well rewarded. And I will keep an eye on the time, and we'll keep this to 60 minutes. Like I said, I'll stay to the end. But what you're going to get out of this is some tangible walkaways, easily worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So first of all, I've written a guide for Google local service ads. I published an article in R&R Magazine this past month about that. You can grab that guide. That'll be available for you. But what we're going to work on here in a few minutes is a spreadsheet. So I'm going to give you this spreadsheet. It's the Bulletproof Lead Generation Target Planner. And we're going to workshop this, and I'll show you how you can use this spreadsheet. So we'll get started on it. You can ask me questions on it. And then I'm going to explain some things. And then this will be your homework, and you can customize it and use it for your own purposes. Okay. And then lastly, all this information that you need to dominate, I put into a checklist. So this quite literally is what we use with our clients, where we say, okay, the checklist, we can go, have you done this? Yes. Have you done that? Yes. Have you done that? No. Okay, why not? Okay, maybe we don't do that now. Have you done this? No. Okay, this is what we should focus on. So this is going to give you the clarity and focus, just like a professional marketer, to look at everything that you could be doing and then zero in on what you should be doing. So at the end, I'll give you the downloads for that. All right. So thanks for joining. I'm Nathan Big. Maybe you're popping in and going, who is this guy? Why should I listen to him? So I built and sold a restoration business. I've got 20 years of experience in digital marketing and in restoration business. I know firsthand what it's like to own the business and to struggle with drug addicted tech. I know what it's like to deal with fussy equipment that wants to blow up in your face. I know what it's like to deal with ball busting insurance adjusters. So I've been there, I've done that. And I know what it's like to struggle with marketing, to feel overwhelmed. I know what it's like to spend money on marketing that didn't return anything. And I paced around saying, I could use that money and gone to Hawaii. Why did I just blow it? So I know what it's like to be on the front lines and to struggle with it. So when I sold my business, I went into marketing full time and helping other business owners. And that's my real passion, is I want to help people like myself get their internet marketing right, because it can feel overwhelming. So I got 10 years in the trenches doing that. And right now, the reason I'm here is I'm on a mission. I want to help you, and I want to help others get their internet marketing right, so that you can make an impact not only in your life and your family's life, but you've got employees. And if you've got your internet marketing dialed in, you got your lead flow dialed in, you can make an impact in your employees' life. You can make an impact on the lives that people are hit by a water loss or fire damage, and you can impact the community. And so I'm on a mission to educate and to help by doing this webinar here today. I'm also publishing an article in R&R Magazine and Clean Facts and getting the word out. So a lot of what you're going to get today is going to be coming out in future articles. And we're going to break these things out for you, so you're going to get first look at it. So I have a marketing agency, Bulletproof Restoration Marketing. And last year we generated thousands of leads and jobs for our customers. And so this is really about you and what you need. And so let's get started on this. So my team and my agency, we're a full service agency. So we've got project managers, analysts, administrators, paid account managers, everything that you need, web designers, graphic designers, content writers, everything you need to do that. So in the chat, what's the number one, what's the hardest thing about internet marketing? What's kicking your butt? What have you struggled with? What's the hardest part about marketing in your business? Paid, Lane says leads. Anybody else? What are you struggling with? Nothing. Joel, Ian, you got anything? What's the toughest part about online marketing? Okay, Ian, finding anything that consistently brings in work. Okay, so consistently is a problem. Anybody else? All right, if everything was working, we wouldn't be here, and things change, so we got to keep up on it. So here's the issue. There's so many options out there. Where do you spend your money? There's a a dozen different things you could be doing right now. And so you can start to feel overwhelmed, like, well, I tried this, I'll try that. That didn't work. Where do I go next? You get a little gun shy. And you don't know where to spend your budget. Uh, like I said, the list goes on and on and on of things that you do: pay-per-click, SEO, buying leads from somebody, advertising. And then particularly in the restoration industry, it's very competitive and it can be very expensive to do your marketing. And you can end up where you don't have a whole lot to show for your marketing. And the biggest issue, I think, Ian, you said it was consistency. And so what's really tough, what I find is tough when I had my business, was keeping a good tech. So you got a good guy and he doesn't necessarily want to stick around if you're not keeping him busy. And he may not want to stick around because he doesn't feel like the work. And then the guys that aren't that good, they'll stick around through thick and thin, but you don't necessarily want them to stick around because they're not the best performer. So ultimately, having a good, consistent flow of leads that's predictable and scalable allows you to provide good service, keep the trucks rolling, keep these techs happy. But then as you want to grow and scale, you need to be able to bring on a new truck and new techs. You need to be able to predict, can I consistently get this? So without consistent lead flow, you're going to be stuck chasing your tail, so to speak. So this is where most people end up. And if you don't have a clear plan, you can overspend and underperform. So here's the opportunity, and here's what we're going to tackle today. We're going to come up with a clear plan. We're going to use a calendar, and we're going to month by month target what we're going to go after, what we're going to focus on. We're going to have key targets, and then we're going to have key KPIs, or key performance indicators, that tell us what to track and what those numbers will tell us, and then we can adjust course. And by getting your internet marketing right, you can generate enough leads so you can hit your targets and keep your trucks rolling and keep those techs busy and scale up and bring on more and more stuff. So ideally, at the end of the day, we want all of your marketing to have a very good return on investment. And that's what success looks like. And that's what maximizing your lead flow to hit your sales goals in 2021 is all about. So the first step is to set clear goals. So, all right, Jeff said keeping up with the trends here. Got it. All right, so let's set clear goals. Now, we've all talked about goal setting before, and maybe to different levels. So who has, just give me a yes or no in the chat. Who's got goals set for this year? Yes or no? Yes, all right, Ian, good job. Joel's got them, okay. Israel, great. All right, good. All right, so it's important to have those goals set. Let me ask you this. So why are goals important? And why is keeping track important? Brian Tracy, you may have heard of him. He's an old school success coach, you'd call him now, motivational speaker, you called him back in the day, but he said success is goals, all else is commentary. And I would say success is momentum and all else is a distraction. Because when I get distracted and you start feeling busy doing busy stuff, but then you say, well, what are my goals? Is this aligned with my goals? It keeps you on track and it gives you direction. So let's first of all talk about the big picture goal. And this is bigger than a specific, I want this revenue goal. This would be the why. Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And what do you want to accomplish? And so some of you, I'm sure, have heard of Dan Sullivan. He does coaching and mentoring for small business owners. But he has this question. It says, if we are having this discussion 3 years from today, so February 4th, 2024, what needs to have happened in your life, both personally and professionally, for you to feel happy about your progress? So this really pulls back. And this is the part where I want you to get a pen and paper and jot this down, and we'll take a second here. So this could be tied to, this needs to happen because. So I need to grow my business over the next 3 years so that maybe it's, I've got a sick family member that I need to extra money to provide for them. Or maybe there's a charity, or maybe there's something that you have. So this is the why, and it's a long range. So it pulls us out of the short range. So anybody have anything that they want to share about their big picture? And hello, Natalie and Gerald. And if you can hit the chat and say hi, and let me know if you've got any goals. There's for those of you joining late, we'll have a recording of this, and so you can go back and look at it. Yes, retirement, college tuitions. You got kids you need to send through college. That is an important why. Hi, Natalie. Okay, so write those down, and we're going to move on here. The other thing that maybe you don't hear very often when you talk about goal setting is, what if I don't? What if I don't? And this would be fear. So the analogy I use is that a positive goal can motivate us to a certain level. A negative goal may motivate us even more. So if you said, hey, run to me as quick as you can, I've got some ice cream and a big hug for you, the kid might run and run pretty quickly for the ice cream. But if you released a growling, barking dog that ran at that kid is going to be scared and afraid, and he's going to run a whole lot faster to run and get the hug from you. So you get my point. So part of what I write down is, well, what if I don't hit this? What is the cost to me? So my kids can't go to the college that they want to. And this helps put the other side of this to the goal setting. So go ahead and write that down. All right, so Natalie has got 4 kids. Congratulations. Grow the business, open a second location. Okay, so let's hear some what ifs. What if I don't do this? Anybody? Nobody? All right. Never be able to stop working. There you go. Right. Okay. So you can spend time on this on your own. We're not going to workshop this to death. There'll be homework from this. So let's move on to the next step here. So what is the cost if I don't take action, if I don't meet my goals? And this is called fear setting from Tim Ferriss. And he's the 4-hour work week guy that we've all heard of. He has a thing, you want to Google it, called fear setting. He's got a worksheet if you want to go to the next level on this. But essentially, if you're stuck in the mud, this can be the thing that gets you going. Sometimes a positive motivation isn't quite as strong. So Tim Ferriss is who I recommend there. Now, lastly, before we get into the spreadsheet, do you want to compete or do you want to dominate? So what do you think, Joel? Put in the chat. Compete or dominate? Everybody type in the chat for me. Compete or dominate? All right, dominate, dominate. Good, good, good. Would be nice to dominate. Ian, you're very nice. Yeah, dominate. Okay, why? Why do we want to dominate? And let's break this down. So compete versus dominate. Compete, by definition, you're competitive. You dominate, you're dominant. So compete, by definition, means you're average. You're like everybody else. You're in the game. If you're dominating, you're the best. To compete, you tend to follow. Oh, you're reacting. What did they do? I need to react to that. When you dominate, you're the leader. Think of Apple and iPhone. Think of Amazon and the delivery truck showing up on Sunday for you, right? They're the leader in the marketplace. When you compete, you're going to try. You may even try hard. But when you dominate, you go to the next level and you do what others will not. So compete is for many, many people. Dominate is for the few. And ultimately, when you compete, I think you're vulnerable. And when you dominate, you're bulletproof. So don't make it your goal to compete. Competition is healthy, but that leads to copying others, half measures, and vulnerability. Decide today to dominate your market. Commit to doing whatever it takes to succeed. And if competition is healthy, then domination is bulletproof. And that's my quote. And that's really where you need to go, because the marketplace, particularly in restoration, is very tough. And you've got market forces, you've got insurance adjusters, you've got techs. This is not for the weak of heart. So you really have to have your mindset right, and you need to look at your why and your what ifs, and maybe every day or twice a day. So some of you may have heard of Grant Cardone, his book, The 10X Rule. It's been out for 10 years or more now. But this is something that is really a punch in the nose for you. And this is where the domination part really gets illustrated. If you want to check out his book, The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. I'm paraphrasing here. Basically, the whole message of the book is reaching your goals is going to take 10 times longer. It's going to be 10 times harder than most people think. And most people are going to give up at some level or another. So you must take massive action. And then after that, take more massive action and keep going and keep going. So he says in his book, there's 4 kinds of action. There's no action. There's evasive action, which is avoiding things. And then where most people are is taking average action. And I would say that's doing work and trying hard, but at the end of the day, you don't quite make it. And then there's massive action, which is the next level. And massive action is the marketing plan that we're going to put together today. So what it means is doing what it takes. So you do whatever it takes to meet the goals and objectives. And then you do whatever it takes to meet the goals and objectives. So you do not back down. You don't say, well, I tried this, it didn't work. I tried that, it didn't work. So I give up, or I'm not going to do that marketing again. You keep at it and you keep at it. So you don't stop until the objective is met, no matter how long or how hard or how much it costs. And the analogy would be is you send a tech out to a water mitigation job and it got too hard for him and he just hopped in the van and took off. You'd be pretty mad. You go, well, I didn't know it was going to be that hard, and I didn't know I was going to have to work that late. I've got other stuff to do. You'd say, hey, when you go out there, you got to do whatever it takes to mitigate that water, to stop that leak. So don't be that guy. All right, enough of the kick in the seat of the pants. But I really feel this is the foundation of what we need to do. Okay, so here's the plan of action. Now we're going to take that and get into detail. We're going to set objectives. Then we're going to look at the best actions to take. We're going to take that massive action, and then we have to have a way to track this and review our results. If we don't have the results on this, then we're just guessing and going around the horn here. And then remind ourselves of the why and the what if I don't do this, and then repeat that. This is the process that we go through. You review your objectives, figure out the best actions, go do those actions, see what happened, say, okay, why am I doing this? This is pretty hard. Well, what if I don't? I better go do it again. So the framework is you got to have written goals and plans. A lot of you have that. And then at a minimum, you're going to have a 1-year goal, a quarterly goal, and a monthly goal. So you're going to break those down, and we typically work in months. Okay. Now, then you have a stopping point like this where you're going to say, okay, I'm going to review this. Now, this could be every day. It could be every week. But at least you're going to want to do this every month and every quarter in terms of reviewing your goals and moving forward. And this tool that I'm going to give you is going to help you out. Okay. So the first thing we do is we write down our goals. So what is your revenue target for 2021? Anybody want to share in the chat? What's the total top line revenue for the year? $1.5. Very good, Joel. All right. Elaine, 1.5. That's a good number. I like it. All right. Whatever it takes, put it in chat. Okay. So 750. Very good, Ian. That next level. Okay. Then we're going to break it down. How much is that monthly? You can divide by 12 and get your number. Now the other half of this is getting how many leads are you going to need. So you need to know your average transaction value. Put a yes or no in the chat if you know your average transaction value. Now this should be across everything. So if you're doing contents that would mix in with your water. If you're doing fire, it would mix in with your mold. just the average. 5K, Joel. Okay, good. Yes, Ian, 5K. Very good. Okay. Now we take those numbers and then you say how many jobs will that require. So we do simple arithmetic. If you want to hit this number, you're going to need that many jobs. Okay, so here's a real simple example. 1.5, obviously that's a popular number. So that's 125,000. If your average transaction is only 1350, then you need 93 jobs per month. Okay, and if it's 5,000, you can do the math and you need a lot less jobs for that. Okay, so where this gets involved, where the simple becomes complicated, is you go, well, I got multiple services that I offer. Maybe you're doing some cleaning, you're doing some commercial property cleaning, you're doing some COVID-19 cleanup, then you're doing some restoration, some water, fire, then you're doing some mold jobs, and maybe you've got some other businesses. So if you're in this group, then you say, okay, well, how do I break that out? How do I boil this down? So then you say, well, I've got some monthly offers or some monthly specials, and then where do I apply my money? There's online digital marketing, there's offline marketing, and then am I going to do paid ads? Am I going to do search engine? It can get very complicated. So I'm going to put into chat here our spreadsheet, and you can open this up and we'll get to work on this. So let me get the link here. So I think you're gonna, here's my chats, here we go. All right, so we're gonna open up the link here, look in the chat. If you don't see it, let me know. And where's my spreadsheet here? All right, everybody got this open? All right, so put in chat if you don't have the ability to open this, don't have the link. Just want to make sure everybody's with me here. Okay. So what you're going to need to do first thing, this is critical, is you're going to have to come up here to File and make a copy. So this is a Google Doc, and then you're going to copy it, and you're going to save it, and you're going to rename it, and it's going to become yours. And then you can start editing it. It's private to you then, and you can make all the changes and adjustments to it. So give me let me know in the chat when you got that done, please. If you got any questions on that, let me know. Watching the chat here. You got it? All right, Ian, you got it done. Joel put the link back in there, so I guess you got it. You good, Joel? Got it. All right. Looks like everybody's got it here. If not, let me know. Okay, now let me walk you through this. So just look at my screen before you start entering it in, and then I'm going to walk you through how to use this. So if you like this, and I think you're going to love it, if you make it your own, you can live in this and use this every day, every month, every quarter to work through your plan. Okay, so we've got tabs here on the bottom, and this drills down and gets, I think we got about 10 different tabs here. And you can customize this how you want, but this is a tool that we use in our agency when we work with a client to partner with them and say, okay, what are your goals and how are we going to get there? And then we use our professional expertise to get them there. So let's start here, and I'm going to make this 1.5. If there's a blue box around it, like this field, that's where you fill it in. If it's orange, don't touch it. That means it's going to fill it out for you. So it's going to do the math for you. The formula's in there. Okay, so then you put in your ticket value. We had, somebody said $5,000. Okay, so this is going to break out 25 jobs would be needed each month. Super simple, super straightforward arithmetic there. Step 2, number of leads required to hit the target. So this is where we then go to the leads and we say, well, what is your average conversion rate? So anybody know their conversion rate when you get a lead? So somebody calls, somebody fills out a form. So 100% would mean every single job you get. 50% means you got a 55% batting average. If you don't know this number, that's a red flag for you because you got to know If you can increase this conversion average, obviously you're going to increase the number of jobs you're getting and the more money that you're making. So this is something that you need to have the ability to track, and I'm going to show you how we do that and how you can do that in a little bit here. And then that says, well, okay, if I have a 55%, okay, Ian says mostly word of mouth. Okay, well, we can work on that. So conversion rate would be hard to track with word of mouth, right? So with online, though, it's all going to be a conversion rate. You're going to get a lead and then a conversion. So really good would be 70% here. Really bad would be 30%. So then if I had a really good batting average, I only need 36 leads, and that would be pretty easy to do. If I've got a 30% batting average, obviously I'm going to need twice as many leads. I'm going to need 83. So you can update by tracking, you can update this. All right, now moving on, average cost per generated lead. So then you want to know, what is this setting me back? And this is going to be the average of all online marketing. What am I paying to get that? And then if you know how much that is, then you know how much you're going to need to spend to make that money. Now, if you're getting a return on investment, then the more you spend, the more you're going to return. And that's where we go to the next level here, which is budget allocations. So in the next tab, we then can enter in our 1.5. Oops, not 1.5, but 1,500,000. 1, 2, 3, I think that's 1,500,000. Okay, now marketing budget. So the larger a company grows, the lower the percentage that they would need to spend on marketing. The smaller a company is, the bigger chunk you've got to spend on marketing. And frankly, most of us struggle with obscurity, and so we need to spend and do as much as possible to get out in front of the marketplace and grow. So 10% is a number that I would recommend for anybody that's not doing 5 million to 10 million or more. So 15% would be a really aggressive number. 8% is right in the middle of the road. Okay. So then you say, well, if I did this much, this percentage, it's going to do the math for you and say, well, your marketing budget for the year then is 10% of that 150,000, and then it divides it out by the month. Okay. Now you say, well, how am I going to allocate this? We got online marketing. The bulk of your budget is going to go to online, whether that's 60, 70, 80, 90% is up to you, but typically 70 to 80% is a good number for online marketing. And so that $150,000 for the year would be all of your marketing, including offline marketing. So if you wanted to, sponsor a soccer team or anything like that, any offline marketing that you're doing, you can set up your percentage there, and then it's going to populate for you by month what you're going to spend on offline, online, and then of course we want to have repeat business and we want to stay in front of those people. And I'm going to show you how we can do that. So as you scroll down, you can then break this down further and say, okay, here's my online budget. What percent? So in restoration, typically paid ads are going to get you 80% of where you want to go for the leads. And so you can set up your allocations and say, well, I'm not going to do anything for SEO to start, and I'm going to do 95% paid. You get the idea. Or I'm going to do just 10% to start here and 85% there. Okay, so you can play with these numbers. Whoops, undo that. Okay, any questions on this? All right, crickets. All right, so the next thing is the cost per lead by source. So we need to know our metrics and what our costs are. And so if you've got, you can change this out to, fire, you can change these columns, you can add them here, but essentially as you start marketing, you're going to say, well, in my marketplace, every time I get a lead for water damage, it's about $80. For mold, it's about $50, okay? And then we can understand what the blended average is for the different types of marketing that we're doing. And then we can get to that number of like, what is a lead cost? Got it? And then we've got your average transaction value. And you can, of course, edit this for the different services that you have. All right, so you should be getting some clarity here. Next step is we're going to look at your marketing calendar. So what I have put on here are tabs for different services, and you can edit these. You change the name, you just rename it to whatever you want it to be. And this we're not going to go into in detail. This is advanced. But essentially, you're going to say, okay, by month, in February, what's my PPC campaign going to target? Is it going to be mold? And so you could have, I want to go after mold jobs, and then we've got a different tab for restoration. So you can segment, I'm going to run ads for mold, I'm going to run ads for water damage. And hopefully this is getting clear. Then you're going to do some email marketing, do some social media, focus on SEO, and you can add columns here for the different media that you're doing. So the question is, okay, how do I make sense of all this? And if you look at the bottom, I've got a couple of charts from the checklist or the cheat sheet. So let me jump over to help you make sense of this. Just looking at the time here. Okay. Oops. Where's my PowerPoint? Here we go. Okay. So let's take the spreadsheet, which you can work on and fill out as you go. But how do you go about dominating your competition online? What are the strategies and the tactics? So I'm going to break this down. Some of this is going to be really painfully obvious for you, and some of it is going to be a bit confusing. So let's start with Google page 1. So at the top of the page, you've got Google Guaranteed. Then you've got Google Ads, which is your pay-per-click. Then you've got Google Maps here. And then you've got Google My Business, which are kind of overlapping and related. So that's your business listing with Google. And then you've got the regular search results, which would be Yelp or Home Advisor and that sort of thing. Okay. So digital domination would be what? Showing up everywhere. So somebody's searching for mold, somebody's searching for water damage. You're going to show up everywhere. That would be dominating page 1. So that's one piece of it. Google is 60–70% of it. So that is the place to start if you're not already doing things there. And then you can look at, well, how do we attack Google page 1 and how do we break this down? So we fundamentally look at it in 2 ways. At the top, you got Google Guaranteed and you got Google Ads. These are paid, right? You're going to pay to get this. And for restoration, this is the 80-20 rule. 80% would come from this because the freebie stuff down here, the Google Maps and Google My Business, is dependent on your shop's location. And you cannot really have a wide range for your search unless you have multiple locations and multiple offices. So the franchise model is if you look at a ServPro or something like that, they will actually have a physical address spread, like could have multiple in a large city. And the reason they're doing that is for the free search here so that they can show up in the free or local SEO. So this is how we break down page 1 as paid and SEO. And if you go back to that spreadsheet, you'll see that broken out in our budget allocations, right? So we got paid and SEO. Okay, any questions on this so far? I'll keep an eye on the chat. All right. So inside of that, outside of Google, there's a lot of things that we can do in addition to just showing up. You don't magically just show up on page 1. And so this is our 8-point digital dominance strategy. And this is in the checklist that I'll give to you at the end of this. And it's going to break it down so you can understand it. So the first thing that you need to look at is your website. So the website is your foundation. It could be the hub of the wheel of all of your marketing. And so you have to have a good website that has strong copy and, most importantly, conversion elements. And we have a conversion formula that we use when we look at a website. that we say, okay, is this set up well? And then the other thing is that has to be set up for the search engines to look at it. So that's number one, is having a good website. So when we talk with somebody, we look at the website, we say, okay, is this a viable website? Does it need to be tweaked? Can it handle the traffic that's coming to it? Then there's search, which would be Google My Business, the local maps. And in order to rank there, you've got to make sure you're listed on all the directory sites and set up links and that sort of thing. Now, nobody's going to do business with a company that has no reputation, 0 reviews, or a bad reputation. So critical is you have to have a reputation. You know, a 4.5, 5-star reputation is what you want there, and you need to have a process for that. Then paid ads come into play here. Is pay-per-click, retargeting. We're all familiar with retargeting. You go look at some shoes, and then you go check the weather, and there's an ad that pops up for those shoes that you looked at. So you want to pull in retargeting, particularly for remediation jobs. Then there's paid directories, pay-per-leads. Then there's following up with your customer base for repeat and referral business. And then if you wanted to do big storm hits, Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Instagram ads can work very well. If there's a weather event, a cold snap or hurricane or flood or that sort of thing. Okay. Anybody confused by all that? Anybody feel overwhelmed by that? That's a lot of stuff there. Yeah, all right, I see Ian nodding his head. Okay, I'm gonna break it down because it was a few years in this business. I went, how do I explain this? So somebody said they're doing a lot of word of mouth. So if you meet somebody in person, there's no technology whatsoever. They have to first know you, and when you meet them, they now know you. So if they never met you, they're never gonna do business with you. So they have to know you, number one. And then you talk to them and they go, oh, I like this guy, right? If they don't like you, if they go, whoa, this guy's a jerk, or, you know, he smells bad or something like that, they're probably not going to move forward. So they go, boy, now that I know this guy, I really like what he's doing and I have a need for his service. They're going to say, well, have you worked with anybody else? How long have you been in business? What's your reputation, right? Can I trust you? So it's know, like, and trust. And it's the same thing with online marketing. The market has to know you. And that's the same for Google and SEO, is that Google only puts people on page 1 that Google trusts. And if you don't look like a business that can be trusted, they're not going to put you in Google Guaranteed. They're not going to put you on maps. So we break it down into know, like, and trust. So to get the market to know you, we want to show up in the search engines. We can do paid ads. We can do paid directories. We can pay per lead. Okay, hopefully this is starting to get more clarity. And then for them to like you, they're going to go to your website and they're going to hit your Facebook page. And they go, oh, what does this business look like? And we can tell online in a matter of 10 or 15 seconds. If we hit a website, we can go, oh, interesting. I see what they're doing. And we get a sense of people in less than a minute now. So they're going to get the ability to like you. And then ultimately, well, what are the reviews? What are the ratings? Can I trust this person? All looks good. This could take place in a matter of 2.5 minutes online. Somebody does a Google search, page 1, there's an ad. Oh, that's interesting. Let me click on it. They go to a page. Oh, look, they're in my area. They can fix a busted pipe or a leaking machine. That's my need. Well, what's their reputation? Boom, there's a reputation. Oh, I think I'll give them a call. There's your lead. There's your call. So this is online marketing. And I put this into a checklist that I'll give you the link to here in a few minutes. We got about 15 minutes left. And you'll be able to download this. And this is going to give you these charts and these maps. And so you hopefully will have a good idea of how to attack this and break it down. Because quite honestly, it can feel overwhelming. It can feel like you're taking a shot in the dark and you're spending money and time and you're not sure if it's even the right thing to do. So with this, it's going to put you on track. Okay, so let's go back to the spreadsheet. And now you can look at on the calendar. So if we go to the calendar, then we can look at our cheat sheet and we look at our know, like, and trust. And I put this right on the page for you. So you can say, what's my problem? Well, my biggest problem is obscurity. Nobody knows I'm out here. So what would be the most effective way? And for restoration, it's paid ads and pay per click. And so you may just start out and say, okay, I want water damage jobs, and let's go after that. And then SEO is a lot cheaper in the long run, but it takes time. So maybe say, well, I'm going to allocate some money, and over the next 3 to 6 months, we're going to start developing that so we can start showing up on page one. Then I'm going to start getting leads from my SEO work, and that's going to be a little bit cheaper. Now my cost per lead, when we go look at our cost per leads, then we can look at these numbers here and say, okay, what's happening with my cost per lead? Well, it's coming down a little bit because now my SEO is coming into play. And then we can start adding other sources here. And then something you can do on your own is look at the calendar, and you just go month by month. And if you want repeat business, you should be sending out an email every month at the very least and doing some social media. And this gives you focus. So just put in some ideas: spring cleaning special, daylight savings special, and right, November you get a Black Friday deal. And so you're just going to put in here, what am I going to focus on each month in terms of a message? And then if we keep going to the right, you can actually put in here, so let's go to remediation. You can put in your offers and say, okay, well, we've got $50 off first visit. Well, here's one, burst pipe repair, $30 savings. So you can have a punch list. You probably have some offers that you're doing right now. You can just fill these in. And then you would say, okay, well, let's do a burst pipe special. We just had a cold snap, so let's do this one. And then we go back to our monthly and we put in that special offer. So hopefully this is giving you some clarity that you're going to be able to take your checklist, come up with a strategy, and then start putting it in there. Okay, we got 10 minutes left. So you can start playing with that. I'm here to help if you got any questions on this, by the way. So let's go back to my presentation here. Where are we? Here we are. Okay, let's look at the latest trends. I promised you 3 things that you need to look at in 2021. And we're going to look at Google local service ads. Put in the chat, give me a 1 for yes, a 2 for no if you're doing Google local service ads. No, yes. Okay, good, Daniel. All right. Some no, some yes. All right. Joel, yes. All right, good job. Natalie, so about a 50-50 mix here. All right, then we'll look at, I'll go into that in 1 second. The biggest online marketing challenge is unconverted leads. And the hint is that the conversation is moving away from voice and to text and chat. And I'll show you what we're doing with that. And then the biggest thing is new tracking and optimization for a return on investment. So Google local service ads, I just wrote an article on this. Look, as a marketing agency, we don't really do this as a service. We don't get paid anything for this, but I feel it's the #1 thing that every business owner, restoration business, remediation business should be doing, because it's an absolute no-brainer. So let me walk you through this real quick. These show up at the top of the page when you do a Google search. It's in most cities and it's for most services. And it is the very top of the page. You cannot beat the location. It is the top page, and you don't pay for the click, you pay for the actual lead. So you can create this profile for free. You can then, they can click on it and look at your reviews and ratings. They can read a little bit about you on Google's page, and you don't pay a penny until they click to call, until it's a lead. And then that is an auction, and it's based on your competition and your city and how much you pay. But you only pay when you get a lead. And so I think it's a real no-brainer to set some money aside and at least give it a shot. I think it's a great place to start with paid ads. So a couple tips with this: you got to stay active, you got to stay on top of it. Somebody on your staff needs to respond to as many of them as possible. Failure to respond, if you blow these off, shut down your account. Otherwise, they'll do it for you. They're gonna, it's just gonna be bad if you don't respond. So because of time, I'm gonna move quickly through this. So it's free to sign up. Someone from your staff can do it. You're gonna complete an application, and then Google runs a background check on you and your employees to make sure that you guys are legit. You don't have criminal records or anything like that. And then once you're approved, you're gonna get your stamp of approval from Google. And to sign up, here's the link. Just Google, how do I sign up for Google Local Services? And you can get this link and sign up for free. The rankings are determined by the location, the proximity, and your review score and the number of reviews you receive. So you got to have a good reputation. That helps. And then be super responsive. That'll help with your rankings as well. And then if somebody's reporting you as a bad actor, you're going to be in trouble. So bottom line, it's a no-brainer. You should jump on Google local service ads. The feedback that I'm getting is that the quality of leads are pretty good. In the chat, those of you that are using it, how would you rate the quality of leads? Good, bad, ugly. Can you do local ads for each business line? Yes. So you would have, so Ian had a question. Yeah, you could do for water, mold, and so on, you'd have a separate search. And so who's, all right, no feedback. Leads have been good. Daniel says the leads have been good. So that's generally the sense that I'm getting. It's a good lead. And then what's the cost per lead you're paying? And what city are you in, Daniel? Chicago. Okay. So it varies over time and over city, and so I'm just curious what the cost per lead is, but 109 before the bidding started. Yeah, okay. So Google local services could, you know, who knows? Google's in, things change, but right now it seems to be pretty good. If you want to get the guide, go to restorationmarketers.com/local services. Restorationmarketers.com/local services. And I'm putting that in the chat. Okay. So solving the biggest marketing problem, unconverted leads. And so we do all this work, spend all this money. So it was $109 to get a Google lead. And the problem is if they don't convert, particularly these lead forms, if you've got a lead form on your website or a chat, those can have a pretty low conversion rate. 90% in general, 90% of web forms fail to convert. And the biggest reason is time. So if we can spike this number, we're going to do much better. So here's the way I think of leads. It's like your kid puts a popsicle down on the hot pavement in the summer. It's going to start melting. Those leads melt away. So your team, somebody needs to be on top of this. So particularly if it's an emergency situation, obviously you need to pick up that phone. If you don't, you need to respond within seconds. 15 minutes would be a very long time in an emergency situation. In a general lead for remodeling or remediation, 15 minutes is critical during business hours. And then in marketing, there's a general rule of 7. You got to follow up with somebody 7 times on average to get them to take action. And here's the shift. Today's consumer is all about text and not about email and not about phone call. When you signed up for this workshop, you received a text from me. If you gave me your number, you got a text from me within 2 minutes. And you could text back to me and I get that and I can respond. So you need to set up. So that technology is there. Everybody has it. Most people aren't employing it in their business with their leads. So what you need is automation. So you leverage the marketing automation to quickly follow up with web forms within 2 minutes of submission via phone, email, and text. And then you automate the follow-up process. So over the next coming days, they're going to continue to get these messages. So here's the arithmetic. You get 100 leads, you got a 30% closing rate, no follow-up. You're going to make, say, $20,000. You get 100 leads and you bump that conversion rate up to 70%. you're going to double the amount of money that you're making. Okay, so the follow-up is critical. You've already done the work. So every lead becomes more valuable if you can close it. So we have technology that we put in place, and you should have a system like this. So if somebody fills out a form online, they should have chat on your website, because people like to do that rather than call. But immediately they should get a text message, an email, and a phone number, and a phone call immediately, and then a follow-up sequence. And if they respond, then our system would remove them from this process, so they're not going to keep getting followed up on. So this is, 2021. The technology's been there for years. If it's not in your business, this is something that you should implement so that you can follow up with that. The other thing is, if you miss a phone call, we can program it so that a text goes out saying, hey, I saw that I missed your phone call. Would love to talk to you. You can text me back on this number, and you can start a text conversation with somebody that called in. And people have had real good luck with that. Okay. Tracking for higher return on investment. And this is the last trend here of the three that we're going to talk about. So this is really getting a return on your investment. Everybody should be using Google Analytics, keyword and ranking tracking, and tracking the phone calls. And most people are recording them. And then if you're doing any sort of online marketing, you should have access to a dashboard that shows you, here's how much you paid for the lead, here's what you spent, and then here's what a projected ROI would be. Well, we're taking it to the next level, which is we have a system that tracks the leads to the source. So that could be from your website, could be from a paid pay-per-click lead, could be local service ads, right? But then you can say what stage it is in. So is it an estimate? Are we actually doing the work? Did we lose it? And then you can type in your actual return on investment. So not a projected, like, gee, I probably made some money off of these leads that I paid for, but here's the actual return on investment. So what we have is our system that takes every call, every lead, and it creates a lead for you. And then we put it in a pipeline of stages that moves from left to right through estimate, whether you won or lost, and it's in progress, if it's completed an invoice, whether it's paid, and then whether or not you've lost it. So I'll show you real quick how this works. So this is a sample account. This isn't a real live account. This is just here because I wouldn't want to mess with somebody's actual numbers. So we've got a lead here that comes in, and it shows the source as pay-per-click. We also see Google My Business as lead sources. And so you have a process when you go out and do an estimate for a water loss, and then they hire you, and somebody's got to process that, put them into a system. All you do is come in here and say, hey, that Jensen water loss, we actually went out. And so you move them. Come on. What happened here? You're going to move them from left to right. And I'm not sure why this froze up. So these are like 3x5 index cards that are going to show up for each job, each customer. And then you can move them to a different stage here. And so that one went to an estimate. This one we won, and we actually are out there working on it. If you want to drag and drop it and say we lost it or we won it, and then you can come in here and change the dollar amount. So you can come in and type in this one, oops, that's the contact details. So you can drill down and talk to that person, but then we can type in the actual dollar amount. So get it? This, you can actually say this job was $3,102. And then you can see in a dashboard exactly what leads came from where and exactly the dollar amount that you got from them. Pretty important. So now you can tie this back to your spreadsheet. So here's a real live example of one of our clients. So we know from pay-per-click ad for water loss jobs, they got 62 leads and converted 54 of them. So that's a pretty good conversion rate. They generated exactly $123,638, and the leads were $117 from those pay-per-click ads. They got a 16-to-1 investment. So when you have these numbers and you have the ability to track these things, now you're in the driver's seat. And so can you see how having a game plan, having your strategy in place, and then tracking it, you can really get a handle on scaling your business. So Ian says that's excellent. Good. So we're right at an hour here. What to do next? I'll open up the mic so we can ask questions if you want, and I'll stick around as long as you need. But what you need to do next is what I call a 3x3. You're going to write down 3 takeaways. So just jot down, oh, well, actually, just a general sense of getting it on paper, like, oh, here's some good ideas, the general. Then you're going to write down your 3 goals. Well, based on these takeaways, I would like to, and these would be micro goals, like I'm going to get Google locals, I'm going to sign up for Google local services, okay? And then we're going to get actions. Write down those actions and then start taking massive actions. Okay, so if you want help with this, I would be happy to have a one-on-one session where we can look at you. We'll pull up the checklist and we'll say, okay, where are you at? What are you doing? Where do you want to go? And we can talk about putting together a game plan for you. And that you would just go to restorationmarketers.com/schedule and you can get on my calendar. We'll set aside an hour to do that. If you want to get the checklist, I'll put that in the chat here. And so if you want to open up your mic, here's my chat. If you want to open up your mic, if you got questions, or just say, hey, I got a question, I can help you out here. All right. Hey, I hope this was good information for you guys. Any questions at all? I've been talking for an hour. I'd love your feedback. Anything?
Nathan, it's Ian.
Hey, Ian, how you doing?
Good. This is very helpful. One of the things that we're really missing right now, because we've relied so much on like local word of mouth, is a website. And we get different opinions, everything from all you need is a landing page to, you know, you're needing to spend, you know, tens of thousands of dollars on a, you know, full-blown, you know, web page.
A 20-page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What, I mean, what have you seen as, you know, what to avoid or what to expect or how to do this? And do you, are you able to provide any resources to help that process?
Yeah, so what we primarily do is we can start working with somebody. So we build those out and we do those, and it really is, so we're not a web development company. So to back up, what if the only tool you have is a hammer, then every problem is a nail, right? So if a marketing agency is a web development company, then everything they're going to try to sell you is a website. So they're, hey, we're a web company, you need a website. So what you've seen from the presentation is that this is a more holistic, somebody who's been there. And so we say, well, you need these things, but we've got an all-encompassing map, and we would look at how it would fit in and what you have currently. So I would say absolutely, at the very least, you have to have an optimized landing page. You need at least one page that matches the ad or the thing they're clicking on. So you've had this experience where you're looking at red shoes and you go, I want red shoes. Not that you buy red shoes. I don't know why it said red shoes. All right. So you're looking at something, you click on it, and the ad is red, and it's got a certain font, and it's got a certain look, and it's got a certain message. Then you go to a page, and it doesn't match. And what happens today is that you've got about 1.5 seconds, and people go, no, and they back out, and they go to the next thing, and they forget all about it. So the page has to match, at least in the first look and feel. It should be like, oh yeah, I went to the right place, and this matches up. Then it needs to grab their attention specifically for what they clicked on. So for water damage, a big mistake I see, and I see this about I don't know, 70 to 80% of the time, somebody is paying 80, 100, $120 for a click on pay-per-click, and then they just drop them into the middle of the web page for all their services. It's a page for everything. And then the person goes, well, wait a minute, I don't have a tree that's blown down on my roof. I've got a burst pipe. And so can you help me with this? I don't have the time to figure this out. So the answer is you absolutely, depending on what you're doing, will need at the very least a landing page, because otherwise you're wasting 50, 60, 70% of those clicks in that spend. Because if somebody needs a light bulb and you just could physically set them in Walmart in the light bulb aisle in front of light bulbs, they'd be great. But if you just dropped them in Walmart and they had to figure out, okay, which aisle, where are the things? That's essentially what you're doing with a website, is you're dropping them into the lobby of Walmart and saying, go find it, start clicking around. A landing page is the aisle inside of Walmart that's going to go, oh, here you are in there. So hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, so does a website need to be developed first before the Google local service ads get put into play?
I would say you would want to have, I would say we should talk and see what you got. Do you have anything for a website?
Just a Facebook account.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's minimal, minimum viable funnel is a term for marketing where somebody starts with an ad and a lot of people look at the ad and then the funnel narrows, right? And then you bring them to your list. So a minimum viable funnel includes one page. And if you, so you pick a service or what you want to do, you start with that one page. And I can help, like I said, if you want to talk, book a call with me, I can take a look at what you got and come up with a game plan. All right, Joel, what do you got on your mind?
I'm running out of time personally, but I like to book something up and see if we can talk later.
Yeah, so you got the
schedule.
schedule.
Another phone call, and I need to get ready for that one. So if you could shoot me an email or something, and we can set up a time.
If you go to this page, it's in the
restorationmarketers.com/schedule.
Yep.
Okay.
So that'll say book, that says book a time, and you're just going to book a time on my calendar, and that's the quickest, easiest way.
I got a phone call. Is that from you guys, or a text, I should say, to book a time? It was really weird. I didn't know. I thought it might be you guys from an 877-686-8259. Is that you guys?
Let's see, what is it? 435-487-9180 would be the number it came from.
No, this is from a different number because that wasn't you guys. I don't know who this is. Probably just somebody trying to target me.
Right.
Okay.
So
very good.
I will. Yeah, I'll look for you, and then I'll ping you and say, hey, it's me, the real Nathan Big. And,
perfect.
We'll set up a time.
Excellent.
All right, good to meet you, Joel.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Other guys, good luck to you guys and all your endeavors. Maybe we'll meet again soon. Who knows?
All right, man.
All right. Have a good day. God bless y'all.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
All right, Israel, you got any questions?
Well, technically, Joel just asked for it. So it seems like I'm gonna have to shoot you an email or just schedule kind of like an appointment with you. I would like to talk to me and my partner talking to you about some kind of strategy. In the past, we've been working with some marketers that for us seems like they're not working properly for the business, for the kind of business we are in, because as we all know, restoration businesses, it's a whole different animal from any other business. And especially when you try to market something online on Google or any other engine, you have to know the right AdWords. You have to know the right keywords, because if not, it'll take you a different way. So definitely we would like to, or I would like to have some kind of like one-on-one conversation with you and spend, as you said, probably, I don't know how much time you have to
Yeah.
for each.
Right. So I call it a lead flow acceleration session. It's a fancy term for let's just see where you're at and where you want to go and come up with a game plan. And so my philosophy is I approach it, what would I do if this was my business? What would I do if this was my situation? And so it's really tailored for somebody who's been in the trenches and has been there and has 10 years of marketing experience. And so I really bring that to the table to say, okay, plus I work with other restoration companies, so I'm getting real-time feedback from what's working elsewhere and what's not, and that sort of thing. So you're not going to do better than me, I humbly say. I'm your guy.
Okay, no, that's good to know.
All right. What city are you in, Israel?
We're in Chicago. Well, actually,
Oh, yeah.
I'm in Chicago. My office is in Addison. I see.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Daniel is in Chicago area as well. I don't know if it's Chicago City or.
I know Chicago, and I have. So I met my wife in the restoration industry at an event, and she works for Cardone.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm familiar with Roselle and Cardone and Addison and all that. And I lived in the Chicago area for a little bit. And, and we get back.
Yeah, and the thing here is it's a so competitive area. So we are so many. We have to kind of like deal with all that kind of stuff. And actually, I mean, if Daniel still, maybe he can tell you, I don't know him personally, but maybe he can tell you that that's the thing in Chicago area, that there's too many companies that do the same, that we have to kind of like get a piece of the cake.
Yeah, it's you need to dominate, and you need to come strong, and half measures and guessing isn't going to work. So Daniel, are you there? You in Chicago?
Yeah, no, I'm still here.
Hey, Daniel, meet Israel.
How's it going? Yeah, no, Israel's absolutely correct. It's cutthroat business in this area. So I actually pulled the plug on my pay-per-click because we were just getting clobbered by bots. So, and I think it's just common as some of the other owners that I talked to as well.
So by bots, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, someone's out there just hacking away at it. I mean, when I spend $13,000 in a couple months on pay-per-click with no calls for flooded basements.
So we have fraud. So we do like the biggest part of our business is pay-per-click, and we dominate at it, and built right into it is fraud protection. So do you know if you had?
Yeah, we finally got the fraud protection put on, and then they found something else to start clicking on. So it just, it didn't really produce that many calls for us, the pay-per-click campaign. So we're trying, like the Google Guarantee, the Google LSA, and trying to promote that.
When you say pay-per-click, do you mean like leads by phone and 33-mile radius and all that stuff? Or?
No. The pay-per-click is basically you pay-per-click. So as they come into your website, you're paying for the ads. You have placement up on.
So when somebody Googles, the top of page 1 is Google Guaranteed, and then right below that it'll say an ad.
Ads.
And as the name says, pay per click. As soon as they click it, you're paying $100 or $80 for that. Right. And so that can add up in a hurry. And that's what Daniel was saying was, hey, we just spent $1,000 and it was bogus clicks. So there's fraud prevention you can implement that essentially if somebody's clicking multiple times and says, hey, this person's clicking multiple times. And so you wouldn't be penalized for that. But that's go ahead, Daniel.
Yeah, unfortunately, in our case, they kept changing the IP address, the back end of it. It got to be a full-time job just chasing down who's a legit customer and who's not. So right now, it's just better to pull the plug and see if the landscape changes over the next year or so, and then we'll maybe venture back into that a little bit, but not as much. Be more cautious.
All right.
And
Well, I personally haven't seen that before. And how recent was this?
We found it in September.
Okay.
After I switched companies, that new company found it. We put the fraud protect on almost 2 weeks in, 3 weeks in with them, and it still was. They went from one avenue to another avenue as far as the fraud. We'd catch it, and it just would sit idle for a little bit, and then they'd find another keyword to start hitting us up on, and it just got to the point where I'm done chasing it and spending money at it. So I'll start locally before I do that again right now.
So any other questions? Thanks for sticking on here. Anything else on your mind?
No, not at all. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it, and a lot of good information, and appreciate it.
All right, man. Let me know if you need anything. Is it Gerald, Jarrell? You there? Natalie, are you there still?
Still.
Hello? There you are. Hey, Natalie.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great.
Good.
So what's up?
You actually spoke with my husband or whoever set us up with this webinar. So I would love to set up a time to go through some of my questions. And I don't know if I missed the link somewhere for setting up scheduling.
So it's in chat and I'll type it in. Well, actually, I'm typing it in right now.
Thank you.
So we're restorationmarketers.com/schedule. And then what company are you with, Natalie?
I'm with Rewind Emergency Services. We are based out of Orange County, California.
All right. I lived in Seal Beach for a period, quite a years, 20 years ago.
All right. It's a nice area. It's changed a lot in 20 years.
Yeah. Yes, it has. All right. Well, I'm up. Hey, Ian, take care. So anything I can help you with?
Yeah, I took a lot of notes. So we are on our second person working SEO, and it has just not gone well with either. So definitely interested in finding out more about that. I'm going to also look into the Google local service ads. So we do have a website. It's according to my SEO person, there's something that's causing it to not communicate with Google, he claims. So I think there's a lot of things that I'd like to go over, and that way we can kind of get us rolling on some of these items, because most of our business has been word of mouth. And we've kind of dabbled in a couple of these things, but we really need someone to help us take the lead on that.
Good. All right. Well, I humbly say I'm the best.
I like to hear that. You dominate.
Yes, dominate.
Well, okay. I will set up an appointment then, and look forward to talking with you.
Good. All right. Anybody else before we wrap it up here?
I'd like to say thank you for your time, and thank everybody, and nice webinar. And yeah, we'll definitely, you're gonna hear from us soon.
Good. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everybody. See ya.